Hey up everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about the UFC Fight Night card, what takes place tomorrow, headlined by Sandhagen and Nurmagomedov. And just before I get started, I'm only going to be doing predictions for the main card. I'm not that bothered about the prelims. I'm a casual, cry about it if you don't like it. I'm going to get started on the main card. And what a main card it is, and it starts off with an absolute banger between Joel Alvarez and Alves Brenner. Now this is the fight I'm low-key excited for the most, because I think it's going to be the fight that we get the most entertainment out of. Joel Alvarez, a very talented lightweight, all of his 20 wins come by finish. He's got 3 knockouts and 17 submissions, so it's likely we don't go to the distance. And Alves Brenner, another guy who can put your lights out. He had a shit performance in his last fight. I can't remember the guy's name, it's quite hard to pronounce, but it felt like his cardio wasn't the best and he didn't really throw much. I'm not going to say he gave up, but he didn't have much dog in him like, you see with some other fighters. But I am very intrigued with this fight. I'm going to go with Joel Alvarez, but this is quite a hard fight to predict, and I can definitely see Alves Brenner winning this, but I think Joel Alvarez is going to get the submission victory over Alves Brenner. After this, we have Mackenzie Dern taking on Lupi Godinez. I'm just going to go with Mackenzie Dern by decision. I've seen a bit of Mackenzie Dern. I haven't really seen much of Lupi Godinez. Again, I'm a casual, sorry. I've seen a fair bit of Mackenzie Dern. I think she has made some improvements. Nothing too crazy. I don't really know if this is just a 50-50, to be honest with you. A fight I'm not really that bothered about, but just an okay fight, and I think Mackenzie Dern will get a decision victory. And then after this, we get Tony Ferguson at 170 against Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa, please just let Tony Ferguson win. I don't want to see Tony Ferguson break that record of the longest losing streak. At the moment, it's tied with BJ Penn and Tony Ferguson for 7 fights lost in a row. I don't want Tony Ferguson to break that record, but unfortunately, I think it's going to be the case. Tony's 40 now, I believe. We know how he is now. 7-fight losing streak. He's not the guy he once was. It's a sad decline. He has said in interviews that he's started to spar again and he hasn't sparred in many years. Could you imagine if the only reason why Tony Ferguson fell off was because he stopped sparring? I'm hoping that's the case, but I don't believe it will be the case. I think Michael Chiesa is just going to hold him on the ground for 3 rounds and it'd be quite a boring fight and he gets a decision win. But there is a bit of hope in me, because it feels like every time Michael Chiesa has a step up in not a step up in competition, but fights somewhat of a bigger name and it's in a bigger occasion, he usually bottles it like he did against Vicente Luque, like he did against Kevin Lee. And I just hope that it's the case this time, but unfortunately I don't think it will be, and I think Michael Chiesa is going to get a very boring decision win against Tony Ferguson. After this, we have Marlon Chito Vera taking on Davison Figueiredo. I believe that this should be the co-main event of the card, but regardless, I feel like this is quite a hard one to predict. I think Figueiredo is a much better fighter, but Chito's got that dog in him, and he's very drawable, has a great chin. I don't think anyone's been able to knock him out. Figgy, yes, he has power. I don't think he has the power to finish Chito Vera, but I do think Figgy's going to win this fight, because I think he's going to use a lot of his grappling, like he did against Cody Garbrandt. We saw that happen, and where he was able to get a finish against Cody. I don't think he'll be able to finish Chito Vera, but I do think he'll be able to use his grappling to get himself a victory. Reminder that this is a 3-round fight. The only way I see Chito winning this fight is if he does what he did against Rob Font, in a sense where, he's losing the majority of the round, and then he just catches Figueiredo like he did Rob Font. Maybe that can happen. He's done it before. Can he do it again? Possibly. I don't fully believe in Figueiredo's chin anymore, but the reason I believe his chin was starting to decline at flyweight maybe was because of the weight cut, whereas now at 135 it might not be the case anymore. But if I had to put a bet on this, I'm going to go with Figueiredo by decision. I'm very interested in this fight. As for co-main, we've got Sharabullet taking on Michael... sorry, I can't pronounce his last name. It's all these Polish names, I just can never pronounce them. But I think Sharabullet's going to win. Michael had his arm broken by Kevin Holland like 2 months ago. I think it's just hit 2 months since he had his arm broken. I don't think it's the right move to jump back into fighting so soon, because think how long would have had to train for this fight. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to go well for him. I'm not fully on the hype train for Sharabullet. People like to, I'm not going to say overrate. I just think it's overhyped. I don't think his striking's anything crazy that we haven't seen before. I don't think it's anything special necessarily. I think he's a good striker. but I also think he gets hit a fair bit. And once you start mixing in the grappling like Bruno Silva did, I think he slows down a bit. But I do think he's going to get a decision win against Michael. And then we get to the main event between Corey Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov. This is a hard fight to call, and I feel like that's the case because Umar has so many question marks around him. We haven't seen him against a ranked opponent. And then he gets skyrocketed against someone like Corey Sandhagen, who's in the top 5 of a division. Quite crazy to see. I think I'm going to go with Corey Sandhagen by knockout. It's a hard one to call. It's just Sandhagen's so experienced. He's such a well-rounded MMA fighter. Umar, again, has a lot of question marks surrounding him. We haven't seen him against high-level opposition. And he got dropped in his last fight against an absolute nobody. So, you add in those things, you start... It makes a lot of sense why you would favour Corey Sandhagen in this fight. But I do believe Umar does have a solid case to win this. You know, people like to... I don't think Corey Sandhagen's overrated. I think he's a very, very good overall MMA fighter. But I've always criticised Sandhagen for this. He always seems to bottle it in the big fights against Peter Yan, against Aljamain Sterling, against TJ Dillashaw. Yes, I know the TJ Dillashaw fight was very close and arguably Corey should have won that fight. But also on the flip side, TJ was coming off like a 2-year layoff. He was injured. He was washed. You know, this is the best opportunity to beat TJ. He was injured in the first round. Corey should have won, but he kept on... His fight IQ, that fight was so bad, but he kept on throwing spinning attacks. And every time he threw a spinning attack, TJ was able to take him down. And hopefully he's learned from that. But I just feel like Umar's a much better grappler than TJ. So, I don't know. But I'm gonna go with Corey Sandhagen. I'm going to double down and go with Corey Sandhagen. But I would not be surprised in the slightest if Umar wins this. I just think Sandhagen, his timing, I feel like he'll be able to time Umar about to shoot a takedown and maybe get a flying knee. Yes, we've seen it against Frankie Edgar, and it was a brutal knee. And I think he's going to time a knee against Umar. And we need to see what Umar's gas tank is like going over 5 rounds, you know. He's not fighting someone unranked anymore. He's fighting someone who's elite in a very elite division. So I'm very interested in this fight. I can't wait to see how it goes. But I've got Corey Sandhagen by knockout. And those are my predictions for the main card of tomorrow's fight night card, headlined by Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to be winning on the card. Let me know what you think about my predictions. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.